Anglesey. Well, Anglesey is an old ex-military airfield base on the island of Anglesey in North Wales. The airfield itself is long gone and the circuit's been completely redesigned into what is now a modern circuit. I think it's a really safe circuit as well. There's plenty of runoff everywhere. With it being so close to the coast, it's literally on the edge of the sea. It's open to the wind and the elements, so you've got to keep your eye on the windsock. There are 4 layouts to the circuit. You've got the international, the national, the club, and what's one called the coastal. Now there's 2 circuits, the club and the national circuit, which can be run concurrently, and then the coastal circuit and the loop which takes you down and makes the international circuit kind of run together as well. And people call it like the Phillip Island of Wales because of the similarities to the circuit, in the sense of how similar the circuit looks from the view, as you can see the sea, etc. It's a very spectacular circuit to run round. Really enjoy it. The most commonly used circuit is the coastal circuit, which takes on board a section called a corkscrew. But the international circuit is the one I like because you've just got a little bit more to play with. The features are, you've got a great selection of corners to play with. You've got a couple of hairpins. There's a tight hairpin and a more open hairpin with a banking thrown in. You've got a really fast couple of right-handers, which forms what is sort of the back straight, if you will. And then you've got a corkscrew section, which is a real twiddly downhill section, all on a descent. So the inclines you've got to take on board. And there's a bit of off-camber sections thrown in as well. So it's got a right collection of stuff. The features are, as I say, the uphill sections and the descents. And the fact is, because of the openness of the circuit, the wind has an effect on the day as well. So whenever you go out onto the circuit, have a look at the windsock to see where the wind's coming from, because it makes a huge difference to how you take a couple of the corners there, a couple of the fast corners. Well, my favourite bit, or what I like about Anglesey really, is for me the favourite corner is turn 2. It's a relatively simple corner in the sense it's a 180 degree, fairly long 180 degree hairpin, but it's got a really fabulous positive camber all the way around it. You've got 100% view at the corner coming into it. You can see all the way into the corner and the exit. Great point actually to weigh up how you're catching people, because you can look deep into the corner. Because of this camber, it's amazing how fast you can run into the corner, your entry speed. It's one of them where the camber really helps you. It's almost like a berm of a motocross track, and you can just really throw the bike into there, scrubbing off speed as you're going in, picking the throttle up sort of 3/4 of the way around the corner and focusing on your exit. The only problem I have is I can hardly turn my head around far enough around the corner as you're going into it, but really spectacular fast corner, love it. Dislikes for me are, there's an uphill section leading into a tight left called Rocket. I don't like it because as you sort of climb up towards Rocket, it's a relatively straightforward approach. You tip it into the actual tight left itself. It's a blind entry, but then immediately there's a tiny straight and then you go into a long 180 degrees sort of hairpin. But it's really difficult to keep any sort of rhythm or flow there. And because the uphill section leading into this tight left and then it plateaus out, it creates like a negative camber. And if you're running in there still trailing the brake in there, as it flattens out, it's quite easy to end up tucking the front because you're effectively going onto what is like a negative camber. And it's just one of those twiddly sections I'm not really comfortable with. Tricky section of Anglesey is what is called the corkscrew, which is on the coastal circuit. You've come from like the plateau, the highest part of the circuit, you're dropping down like a right and then a left, all decelerating all the way through this, and then there's a really tight right, which is the corkscrew itself, and then there's a tiny straight leading into the last corner. But because you're on like a link section of the circuit, effectively from the international, the camber changes can catch you out, and it's all this deceleration and not a very clear straight brake. It's kind of like you're sort of easing off and little bits of throttle here and there. Really difficult to put it all together. Memories from Anglesey really crystallise into one race I was having with a chap called Lee Gall, a really good friend of mine, very, very talented rider. And we have a lot of respect for each other, but the day was brewing up to one of them close towards the end of the championship, and we're both pushing for points. And we were all sharp elbows. There was no quarter given or taken. We cut slack, yes, but absolutely 100% racing. And the circuit, the coastal circuit we were on, really suited the bikes. We were both on Manx Nortons, so very similar machines in that respect. And it was proper 100% racing. Really spectacular event. Get on board for just $5 a month to see my exclusive content. But if you like what I do, you can subscribe on higher tiers for greater rewards.